We're coming off of God of War 2018. How do you top that? How do you deliver something that players will love maybe just as much as God of War 2018? The pressure was tremendous. My name is Ariel Angelotti, and I am the senior producer for narrative.
My name is Richard Gobert. I'm the story lead for God of War Ragnarok.
I'm Jody Kupsko, and I'm the supervising dialogue designer.
It's my job to shape the story along with our writing team, our narrative director, and game director.
As a producer, it's my job to help build a team to create that content, to own the schedule in realizing that content.
I oversee the dialogue production throughout the entire titles. Every line of dialogue that you hear, every human vocalization and effort and grunt, our team touches.
So I'm a man now, like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater.
In the story of God of War 2018, we find Kratos seemingly having turned over a new leaf in the Norse lands. He lives a quiet life, hidden in the woods with his wife Faye and their son Atreus. And the story starts with them mourning her death. And we learn that she made a final request before she passed away. She wanted them to spread her ashes from the highest peak in all the 9 realms. He's scared of being a bad father, a bad influence, and as a result, it's made him an absent father. His greatest fear is that he's passed that evil that's inside of him onto his son.
You are too quick to temper. You are rash, insubordinate, and out of control. This will not stand. You will honor your mother and abandon this path you have chosen. It is not too late.
They befriend Freya, who is an exiled Vanir goddess who used to be married to Odin. They meet Mimir, the self-proclaimed smartest man alive, who serves as their guide and their confidant. And they meet the Holdra brothers, Brock and Sindri, who are world-class weaponsmiths who end up their main source of upgrades and equipment. Now, among the enemies they make are the Aesir gods, whose leader is none other than Odin, someone we never meet in God of War 2018, but who casts a very long and dark shadow over the 9 realms.
There are consequences to killing a god!
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
After many adventures, Kratos and Atreus end up fulfilling Mom's wishes, and over the course of that journey, they find out more about each other and about themselves, and finally find a common ground between them. They become the close family unit that Faye hoped that they would become. In God of War Ragnarok, we fast forward a few years, and little Atreus is now a teen, and they're back to hiding out in their home in the woods in Midgard. During the course of the previous game's events, they were forced to kill Odin's grandchildren, Magni and Modi, the sons of Thor. Thor does a lot of the lion's share of Odin's dirty work, and as a consequence, he's a very violent, unstable personality. At the end of the last game, they were also forced to kill Balder, the son of Odin and Freya, and that has its own set of consequences. He was a very powerful chess piece for Odin, one that Odin is incredibly bitter about losing. Freya has vowed vengeance against them for the killing of her son. Kratos and Atreus didn't want to kill him. They were friends with Freya. But Balder tried to kill her in front of them, and Kratos had no other option in the moment but to kill him to save Freya's life, even though it meant losing Freya's friendship.
I will parade your cold body from every corner of every realm and feed your soul to the vilest filth in hell. That is my promise.
He saved your life.
He robbed me of everything. Everything.
His death is also foretold to bring about Fimbulwinter, which is a brutal 3-year winter that is then followed by Ragnarok. It's an apocalyptic war between all the Norse gods, the giants, the dwarves, and the elves, and an army of the dead. They're all destined to fight in a battle that basically ends the world. Kratos is understandably worried about his son and what it means for him.
You get to go on this journey with how Atreus grows into a young adult and how Kratos grows into his next era in his life, and really see kind of the parent that he's striving to be, but the person he's striving to be. I find that tale so incredibly relatable.
We had started shooting plenty of content before the pandemic hit. In fact, the week before we all went work from home, we were doing a shoot. I remember being on and off that set, running back to the office and having to talk to studio leadership about what was going down and how this was going to impact us moving forward. And those were trying times.
For us, it was a very unique challenge because we had to bring in actors and we had to record them. And so we had to look at different ways of adapting our typical motion capture process and dialogue recording process so we can continue production and continue at the quality that we wanted for our players and our fans.
We had some actors stand in for other characters, actors who were already, who were like core to one of the scenes, might just be able to play a background character in another scene to be able to avoid a situation where too many people were on set on any given day. We avoided compromising the story that we were trying to tell as a result of the pandemic and these limitations that we had to deal with. There were no cinematics that we changed. We still have the same characters in them in the final game. We just had to get a bit creative with how we shot the content.
Our actor for Atreus, Sonny, is a teenage boy, and his voice changed dramatically throughout the several years on this title.
I don't want to fight anyone. I just want answers.
We had to go in and even out that performance so it sounds like it took place over a short period of time. That was a unique challenge on this one.
The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming.
Whether the Norse saga was going to be a trilogy or just 2 games was something we debated a lot. There were obviously pros and cons for either approach. So we waited for Cory Barlog to weigh in, and he did, and he said, let's do it in 2.
The consequence to that is, how do you wrap up the story in one game and do Ragnarok justice? How do we lead up to that and then have a big moment at the end of the game and wrap up all those loose threads? This game is bigger than what we initially envisioned. There's a lot of important story moments that we needed to cover. There are more characters that we follow the threads of. And ultimately, it ends up feeling big and epic because there is a lot there for people to enjoy.
I am very excited for folks to see this final chapter. A lot happens. We put our characters through the ringer, but we also bring them closure and we provide answers to a lot of the questions the first game posed.
Just all of the new combat that we're doing and the new interactions. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in this title that I think people are going to have fun with.
We all have our own personal Ragnaroks to deal with. And this story is about how you process that, how you own it, and how you make it a part of yourself and grow from it.
I mean, we set some stuff up at the end of last game. There's going to be some consequences this game. We're going to see how things play out between Freya and Kratos. We're going to see how the evolution of the family relationship continues. You got Brock and Sindri, the dwarves, who are kind of part of your makeshift family now. And there's going to be some other characters that we introduce that maybe going to disrupt the balance a little bit. I can't wait until players get their hands on the game or are able to experience how the story unfolds for themselves.
We have, I think, an incredibly well-rounded game. Very satisfying combat, beautiful and rich environments to explore, outstanding character art, a lush and moving soundtrack and soundscape. It's the work of hundreds of very dedicated artists, and they all have their own stories to tell.